today I'm going to give you 5 steps on how I do my journal pages. My current journal is this journal, volume number 10. So I'm on my 10th journal of this size. So today I'm going to give you 5 steps on how you guys can create similar pages. Just how I do it. Like, this is not how, I don't know how anyone else does it, but this is how I do my pages. So the first step is you're going to need a journal. So I always use Traveler's Notebook size journal. So I make all these myself. I stitch them together or staple them together, and then I cut them. Here's a couple examples. Like, I have tons of journals always ready to go. So the first ones you need is a journal. So I always use these ones. They're soft covers. Another one you could use is maybe a moleskin. They're also soft covered and similar in size. That's another option. And then a couple other options would be you could use a bullet journal to do these. These are a little bit bigger. This one is kind of a soft cover, but it is pretty big. But I travel with my journals and I have more than one always going, so I don't like this size right now. And another option would be maybe a sketchbook. This is a nice small 5, I think an A5 size almost. Has great pages, thicker. This would be a lot of fun to journal in as well. So the first step would be find a journal that you like. My advice is probably just try out a cheaper journal first before you go and buy a whole bunch of expensive ones, because it just makes it, you don't know if the size that you start with that you're gonna stay with. So just try to find something that you think you might like and then go from there. Don't go buy a whole bunch of stuff. Step 2 is how are you gonna create all these fun colors. So I always use watercolors. I'm gonna slide this to the side for a second. I use 2 ways. So the first way is by using acrylic paints. These ones are the only ones I found in Mexico so far. So I had to leave all my other ones in Canada, so this is what I'm using now, and I love it. You can find all the fun colors, super fun, like every page. I have this journal with me already on my YouTube channel, so I'll link that, but all these pages I did with acrylic paint as the background. And then another option, so I love acrylics, those are my favorite medium, of course, to use. And then another way would be using watercolor. So this is the Koi watercolor set. I'll show you a couple pages that I used watercolor with. These ones are all acrylic. Oh, this one is, oh no, these are all acrylic as well. Oh, here's a watercolor one. So it's a little bit lighter. It doesn't give it quite the same texture as acrylic does, but there's an option for watercolor. And then another way I use watercolor is by just doing my paintings, or if I draw something, I watercolor it. So it does buckle the paper a little bit, but I don't mind that, and the texture is kind of nice too. So that's how I do the backgrounds or create some color in my journals. So step 2 is how are you gonna journal? So what item are you gonna use to journal with? So I used to use Sharpies all the time, like these Sharpies all the time, but then I started wrecking the nibs because they're acrylic paint. It does give it a weird texture, but I don't mind the texture, so if you don't mind it, that would work too. I did try using a white pencil crayon also for the darker colors, or I use a white gel pen sometimes as well. It looks really cool with the white gel pen, but I've actually just switched over to using ballpoint pens. So I have a ton of ballpoint pens, but I usually just use black or blue ballpoint pens because they're easier to replace and they're cheap. Whereas the Sharpies, they're quite expensive after a while, and I keep wrecking them so often, so I stopped using them recently, and I just go with my ballpoint now. It gives it a nice clean look and it flows so well, so I highly recommend ballpoint pens if you're going to use acrylic and watercolor. So that's step number 3. Step number 4 is to add photos. So I have a ton of photos on hand all the time. Like always have a ton of photos on hand. So I go to Shoppers Drug Mart or wherever you can to go develop pictures, and then every photo in my journal is made on photo paper. So I just go and develop them there, but I make them into little grids or collages before I go, and then I print them there on photo paper, and then I use them in my journal. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So this is a 4x6 photo paper that I just made into a tip-in, which I love that. That's a pretty big one, but that's one of the options. And then here's another 4x6. I also made that into a tip-in as well. Example of a couple of smaller photos that I made into tiny little grids of my nephews, and then I just put them in a little pocket, but this is also made on photo paper as well. So the quality is really nice, and they're perfect for journaling. So that's what I always use. Another photo, here's another one that I made into a small 2x3 photo from a 4x6. So yeah, so those are the examples there that I have for you for photos. So I love using photos. It just makes it really fun when you're doing, when you go back into your journal later and see what you've written. And then the last step is you want to add some visual interest. So a great way to add visual interest is by using stamps. I love stamps. This is my Ali Brown stamp, my favorite stamp. Thank you, Ali Brown, for making this. But yeah, so I always use stamps. Here's an example of like stamping on plastic. So normal stamping ink won't stay on plastic, but the StazOn does. So I always use StazOn for all my stamping. Oh, here. So this is also used with StazOn. This tip-in here, and it works great with the stamps. So that's one example there too. And then the other thing is like this is vellum that I made myself using regular printer paper with wax paper, or with wax, sorry. So I just stamped with my StazOn a nice little quote. And then yeah, so that's one other way that you can do your journals too. And I always use washi tape for all my fun like decorating. So I have tons of washi tape, and then I also always use stickers as well. I just bought these, so I haven't been able to use them, but like these are great to add to your journals for just fun things as well. I'll show you a couple of examples of what I use with my washi tape. So here's an example. I made a clear pocket, and then I used washi tape for the sides of the tape. Here's another one. I just add the washi tape to the tip-in. Another pocket that I made with the washi tape side. Washi tape, stickers, that's a sticker. Here's another flip, little tip in there, little pocket, and I actually dried flowers and I put that in there, and I just laminated a photo of Tim and I, put it in there, tip in. Here's a cut-off example. So you basically take a photo, you just cut it, and then you cut the top off there.
Thank you so much for watching the whole video, guys. I hope this video inspired you to get into your journals and make them super fun and bright. And I really appreciate all you guys watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. Make sure you hit subscribe and the like button, and I will see you on the next video, guys. Thanks again for watching.